The Galactic Council's First Contact Protocol 847b was crystal clear. No domesticated animals were permitted during initial diplomatic exchanges with newly discovered species. The reasoning was sound, according to the Zenthari Diplomatic Corps who had drafted it 3 centuries ago. Pets were unpredictable, potentially aggressive, and could transmit unknown pathogens. They represented chaos in what should be a carefully orchestrated dance of interstellar diplomacy. Commander Vexistar of the exploration vessel Harmony's Edge had reviewed the protocols 17 times before arriving at the 3rd planet of the Sol system. The blue-green world below them showed clear signs of a technological civilization, primitive by galactic standards but promising. Radio signals, satellite networks, and the telltale heat signatures of nuclear power all indicated a species on the verge of faster-than-light travel. The humans, as they called themselves, had been selected for first contact after extensive observation. They showed remarkable adaptability, creativity, and surprisingly little aggression toward their own species for such a young civilization. The Council expected smooth negotiations for eventual membership in the galactic community. What they didn't expect was 8-year-old Emma Chen. The landing site had been carefully chosen, a remote field outside Denver, Colorado, far from major population centers but close enough to government facilities. The human authorities had been notified through carefully placed dreams in their leaders' minds, a standard procedure that avoided panic while ensuring proper reception committees. Secretary of State Harrison, 3 generals, 2 scientists, and a carefully selected diplomatic team waited in the designated area. Everything was proceeding according to protocol until a small human child came running across the field, chasing what appeared to be a 4-legged creature covered in brown and white fur. "Buster, come back!" Emma shouted, her voice carrying across the field as she pursued the medium-sized canine. The dog, a border collie mix from the local animal shelter, had slipped his leash during their morning walk and bolted toward the strange humming sounds coming from beyond the tree line. Commander Vexistar watched through the ship's sensors as the small human and her companion animal approached the landing zone. Every instinct screamed at him to delay the contact, to wait until the area could be properly secured. But the human delegation was already in position, and aborting now would violate 12 other protocols. "Sir," his communications officer, Lieutenant Zara, announced, "the human child and animal have entered the designated contact zone." "Maintain position," Vextar decided. "Perhaps the human authorities will remove them." But Secretary Harrison, seeing Emma's desperate chase and recognizing her from the neighborhood, his own granddaughter played with her regularly, made a different choice. Instead of having security remove the child, he knelt down as she approached. "Emma, honey, you need to stay close to me, okay? Buster, too." The ship's landing thrusters engaged, kicking up dust and grass as the sleek vessel settled onto the field. Emma's eyes widened with wonder, but she didn't run. Instead, she wrapped her arms around Buster's neck as the dog pressed against her, both seeking comfort in each other's presence. When the airlock hissed open and Commander Vextar emerged, all 8 feet of his crystalline, vaguely humanoid form glinting in the morning sun, the human delegation stepped forward with practiced diplomatic composure. Emma, however, tilted her head with the pure curiosity only children possess. "Are you a rock person?" she asked, her voice carrying clearly in the morning air. Vextar's translator implant processed the query, and he found himself answering before protocol could stop him. "I am silicon-based, young human. In a sense, yes, I am made of what you might call rock." Buster, meanwhile, had begun wagging his tail. The dog approached the alien commander with the boundless optimism that had made him hard to adopt. He was too friendly, too trusting, too eager to love everything and everyone he met. "I apologize for the disruption," Secretary Harrison began, but Vextar raised a crystalline hand. "No disruption," the commander said, watching as the small creature sniffed at his feet and then sat looking up expectantly. "Your companion animal. It shows no fear." "Buster's never met a stranger," Emma explained proudly. "He loves everyone. Even rock people, I bet." What happened next would be debated in xenopsychology classes for generations. Buster, seeing a new friend who wasn't reaching down to pet him, simply leaned against Vextar's leg and closed his eyes contentedly. The simple gesture of trust from a creature who had every reason to fear the unknown seemed to shift something fundamental in the crystalline being. Vextar knelt down, his joints chiming like wind chimes, and carefully extended one finger to touch the dog's head. Buster's tail wagged harder. "Remarkable," the commander whispered. "This creature. It accepts without judgment." "That's what dogs do," Emma said matter-of-factly. "They love you even if you're different. Even if you're sad or scared or made of rocks." Lieutenant Zara's voice crackled through Vextar's comm unit. "Sir, we're detecting unusual neural activity from the animal. It appears to be releasing chemical compounds that are affecting your stress indicators." Emma giggled. "That's just dog magic. They make everything better." Over the next 3 hours, as diplomats exchanged formal greetings and scientists shared preliminary data, Emma and Buster remained at the heart of the gathering. The child asked endless questions with the fearless curiosity of youth, while the dog systematically befriended every member of the alien crew as they emerged from the ship. When Lieutenant Zara knelt to examine Buster's primitive but effective biological design, the dog licked her face, causing her to emit a sound that her species used to express joy, something she hadn't done since childhood. "Your protocols," Secretary Harrison mentioned during a quiet moment. "They must have guidelines for this sort of situation." Vextar watched Emma teaching his crew how to properly throw a stick for Buster. 2 of his most senior officers were now engaged in what humans called fetch, their crystalline faces showing expressions he'd never seen before. "Our protocols," he admitted, "never accounted for companions who judge based on kindness rather than species, or for young beings who see wonder instead of threat." The formal first contact lasted 6 hours. By the end, Emma had named each crew member, and Buster had claimed the entire alien delegation as his new pack. When it came time for the initial departure, Vextar found himself reluctant to leave. "Commander," Emma said as the crew prepared to board their ship, "will you come back and visit us?" "Protocol suggests a waiting period before—" "That's a yes or no question," she interrupted with 8-year-old directness. Vextar looked at his crew, still radiating the strange contentment that seemed to follow interaction with the human child and her companion. He looked at the human delegation, who had proven more flexible and welcoming than any first contact scenario in the databases. "Yes," he said simply. "We will return." As the ship lifted off, Vextar began composing his report to the Galactic Council. He would recommend immediate advancement of humanity's contact status. He would also recommend a complete revision of Protocol 847B. Some chaos, he had learned, was exactly what the universe needed. In the field below, Emma waved goodbye while Buster barked at the departing ship. Not in alarm, but in the same enthusiastic way he greeted departing friends at the dog park, confident they would return soon. They were both right.